Hey, I'm Barrett.
I'm Ryan.
I'm Chris. I'm John.
I'm Nikolai, and we are the Dev, and thank you for checking Rock at Night.
Are you ready? Hey, tonight I'm gonna take you on a little trip. We're going down south by the mighty Mississippi. I'm gonna take you to a place where lights never dim. Bring your mother, your brother, and your best friend. I'm gonna show you where they dance out in the street. They'll tell you all about your body heat. Not gonna talk about it, just gonna do it. Get on down, if you feel up good. Get on down.
So I'm Jake. I guess I'll be interviewing you guys for Rocket Night. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. I asked the gentleman earlier if you guys are excited for Kraken Fest. So are you excited, Nikolai?
I am beyond stoked. I'm really into the Used and Red Jumps Apparatus, and actually our merch girl, her favorite band ever is the Used. So telling her that we were going to be playing with them quite soon was probably just a real shocker. I mean, it's a shocker for all of us, honestly.
They're legends, man. I mean, I was listening to them when I was, I think, like a freshman in high school. So, they've been around for a minute. So yeah, I'm really excited for you guys.
Definitely a bucket list. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Plus to get to play the amphitheater stage at the fairgrounds, which is a fairly newer stage that's been built within the last 3 or 4 years.
Mhm.
It's going to be awesome. Because the last time any of us have played there, Ryan and I played Earth Day Birthday. We played on a small acoustic stage, and before that we played Kinkfest a couple of times, and we played on a pretty decent sized stage, but it wasn't the main stage, it was one of the side stages. So just to be on the stage, there'd be a number of bands that have already been on that stage. It's a pretty awesome honor to be playing it.
Yeah, and it's great to obviously share stage with like legendary bands, but I think the other thing too that we're really looking forward to is, especially for us, because we just went on this little like run, and for us, I'm the most excited about is getting in front of the people. You know what I mean? Is being able to have opportunities to like get in front of like massive crowds to like introduce them to the Dev, because we're still in that phase of like growing and building. And so like,
Hell yeah, man. I mean, isn't that what it's all about is about the fans,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm super stoked that you guys get that opportunity. That's badass for you guys. That's a huge stepping stone for, publicity and just, to really, really show your stuff,
Yeah. It's been a good 6, 7, 8 months for us, especially with doing Rockville, and then we're literally releasing a single the day before Kraken, and then it's like to play Kraken, like it's been a crazy few months, so it's been awesome.
Hell yeah. So how'd you guys start? Like, that was just something. I know that's like the everyday question. How'd you guys form? How'd you guys find each other? But it's one of those I have to ask.
Well, to be honest with you, the makeup of the band and the members that you see in front of you right now, it definitely has a lot of layers. And it didn't all start at once. John and Ryan have known each other for years and years on end. And the way
Decades this year.
a decade. Wow, yeah. So they've known each other for like a decade. And I know that the way I kind of fell into the band was a Craigslist ad, if I'm not mistaken. And
But it was the casual encounter.
it was a casual
We were looking for
encounters.
casual encounters. We weren't looking for the musicians. We were trying. No, I'm just kidding. No, it wasn't.
So-
It was a musician.
So they have, which I'm surprised because, to be honest with you, I haven't really been singing for many years. I can definitely say that I've been an avid listener of music, and I've definitely been in the arts in general for like a long time. So before singing, I was really into like hair, makeup, a lot of show theater and whatnot. And I really wanted to go and partake into making my poems into music. And my friend kind of recommended going on Craigslist, which I'm sure everyone who ever watches this interview, they're going to have like a really sketched out thought, which Craigslist does have kind of a sketchy vibe, but there is like a musician's kind of tab. And I was going through so many people, and I must have met a lot of friends that, I auditioned with or I jammed out with at first, but then meeting John and Ryan, I was like, oh crap, like this band really has something. And like, I really want to be a part of it. But then, of course, I was still kind of going through this like little weird phase, and it took me a couple like runarounds with them until I decided that this band was it. And then the same thing kind of happened with Chris. And then later on, as the band was technically uniformed, we thankfully bumped into Barrett, and then it just felt like all the pieces fell together. So it wasn't necessarily all of us meeting at once, but more so the pieces just slowly falling together and fitting perfectly.
I can dig that. Well, that definitely
Yeah.
answers that whole question as to how that started, which is
Yeah.
awesome.
It was just like way more of an organic kind of, experience. It was never like there was tryouts or everybody was like, oh, you need to come here and do X amount of things. It was just like, hey, can we get in a room together and like make music and like get along? Because I mean, and I think a lot of people know, like being in a band's not just one-sided. Like there's many facets of like that you have to do to get along with people and just be in a room and want to take on the challenge of being an artist and especially in the music, industry and business. And, for us, like our goal was never going to be like a hobby or like a weekend warrior kind of wank shop. It was, we want to succeed, we want to take this to whatever level we can, go about and bring it to. And, so there's a business mindset and aspect to what we do as well. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Your guys' name, The Dev, where did you guys come up with that?
I did.
Yeah.
It was blurted out at practice. It was born of frustration of not being able to agree on a band name.
Yep.
So it was just blurted out because I was just tired of everybody going back and forth on this name, that name, this name. And I just said The Dev. And Nikolai was like, ooh, what does it mean? And then I made a real smart aleck remark that she didn't like. And maybe in person we'll tell you one day, but you gotta be cool enough to be, you gotta be in the know to know what was originally said.
Well, it's also NSFW, so
it is very NSFW.
We'll save it for later.
We'll save it for later, but Ryan came up with a great acronym, broke it down into an acronym, and it stands for Desired Evolutionary Vision. But honestly, it can mean whatever you want it to mean. It's stay devoted. It's whatever, but it was just a name that popped in my head. It's actually Hindi for God, which is kind of weird.
That's
was
kind of cool.
correlation. I wasn't thinking about that, but it's just cool. Everybody dug it, and it's short, it's sweet, it's only 6 letters. It looks great on a t-shirt. It's an easy logo to design, and that's the other thing. Like Ryan and I were in a band called I Woke Up Early for My Funeral, and that's a really long band name. It's really hard to put
7 words.
Really hard to put on a t-shirt.
Easy to put on a tattoo,
yes.
but hard to put on a t-shirt.
The Dev, it really, and it pops, and people really like it. We've gotten a lot of compliments on the band name, so it's really cool, and I'm happy that I was able to contribute that.
And I think too, the name doesn't lend itself to like too metal or too rock or too pop or too anything. Like that was the big issue that we were having, is when we were sitting here going, well, what do we want to call ourselves? We'd come up with the name and it'd be like, oh, that's too screamo, or oh, you know what I mean? So like you have to be careful, because you want your name to be something that you're proud of, and obviously you can tell people, yeah, I'm in the band such and such, and not cringe. So it was like, what do we have? And I think, as much as there's like, there's some mystery and ambiguity to the name, and how it started. I think at the same time, it's become something that I'm proud to say I'm in the band The Dev. Like it represents, I think, a good, modern hard rock band that's, coming up through the ranks right now. So I'm stoked on it.
Oh yeah, your guys' music is definitely going places, man. It's really, really catchy. I mean,
Thank you.
I really have been listening to it nonstop for the past like 3 days. So like Queen of the Damned, I don't know why it just got stuck in my head. Just it's hypnotic, and I don't know. I can't really pick favorites because I'm just very eclectic when it comes to my musical taste, but I've definitely been digging your guys' stuff. So it's really cool that I'm actually speaking to you guys about all this. Like, oh, and like your latest single, Shameless Life. I love it. I love it. So yeah, no problem, guys. So you guys kind of did like a little mini tour and stuff. What do you guys like to do when you guys are out on the road? Like what are fun things that you do?
That's another NSFW.
Dude, we are totally unedited on this, uncensored. If you want me to cut it, I can cut it. I'm just curious.
So, I mean,
We get fucked up.
yeah, here's the thing I'm gonna say about us. Like, there's cliches in rock and roll, but like, I think everybody in this band loves living life, and part of the beauty of like being able to go on the road and play music with people that you enjoy and to create art. I mean, it's not always prosperous, it's not always glamorous, and I think people know that. Like, there's times where, you know, my 6'1" frame is crumpled up, you know, in this like position where it looks like I'm dead, you know, and sleeping, and you know, you wake up with hangovers, this and that. But the fun thing about us, I think, is like we just take the opportunity to really enjoy what we're doing. You know, whether it's playing with other bands on the floor of, you know, a bar in the middle of nowhere, or
Mississippi.
yeah, having days off. Like, we just had a day off in
South
New Orleans,
Carolina.
you know, so we could go and hang out and see the sights and the sounds, and
That was fun.
just taking advantage of, you know, the opportunity to be able to go play music. We do like to party, you know, that's who we are.
Oh, yeah.
But that's okay. I mean, like, having a good time, like, there's nothing wrong with that, you know? So, but you know, I wish I could say we were more productive and like, yeah, we write on the road, but like
We're
9 out of 10 bands that I know that I've ever been in never can really write on the road, because it's like, you just don't find the time, you know, like you're busy, you got to worry about like different things. So most of the time, you know, I find myself laughing, enjoying, like I'll bring stuff to like read or whatever, but I just never do it. I'm either listening to music or we're like chatting in the band, and you know, just looking at the sights and sounds of you know, the country and where we're going. And the other thing too is me personally, I really like watching other bands, you know, wherever we go. I always find it interesting to just like watch a band or watch another guitar player and kind of learn a little bit from what they're doing and see what's going on. And obviously make connections and stuff like that. But I think we're a very fun band to be around. And I feel like that rubs off wherever we go. People, we're that band that closes down the bar. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like, we're there till the end. So,
Man, I love that. You guys literally do live the embodiment of the rock and roll lifestyle. And that's what it's all about, man. It's about living in the moment, right? I mean, you
touring
sometimes you
definitely
only get
party hard and work hard for sure. Because like if you really think about it, I mean, probably like two of our most favorite venues that we played at was like in South Carolina and then in Mississippi, and it was like a small dive bar. And what people don't necessarily realize, especially like during the come up and during like smaller runs, you could be on like the road for like 4 to 8 hours, and you have an hour to get to the hotel, an hour to get dressed, and then next thing you know, you're at the venue. So, you know, you don't necessarily always have the most time to have fun, but that's why we take it upon ourselves to have like the most craziest time the moment we perform. So like the moment we're at the venue at 6 to when we leave at 2 a.m., we choose to stay there from open to close. The moment they load into the moment the bar closes down is because that's like basically what we do it for. And it is an extremely enjoyable process. And sometimes the smallest, weirdest bars were probably the more fun ones to play at. And actually, with our new single release coming, that was literally the reason why I wanted to write Hell Bed, was just because of this small bar named Tribbles in South Carolina.
It was actually a gas station that got turned into a bar.
Yeah. And at one point they had like a really big fridge where it looked like they stored bodies in it. Like, you know, we don't do anything specific to like have fun. Like, it's not like we choose a diner to eat at or go skydiving in every state that we go to, but we do kind of explore every bar that we play, the cities that we're in while we're at it. And we visit a lot of Starbuckses. And then the moment we're in that bar, the moment we're ready to play, you know that you're partying with the dev and you're going to have fun with the dev. And that's kind of our thing. Starbuckses?
Can't you just say Starbucks?
Starbucks? Starbucks
Starbucks is
I don't know.
Starbucks.
Stop there like every morning.
Yeah, literally.
The plural.
But
Okay.
we work hard and then we party really hard.
So you guys speak of Starbucks. Do you guys have a favorite drink from Starbucks? I know I have one. Oh goodness, I totally have one. But I want to know what your
Yeah.
Everybody's got a drink, so
Yeah.
you can get everybody's like flavor.
And I guarantee you wouldn't be able to guess it.
No.
Yeah.
So mine, this tour was because it was cold everywhere we played, I did the white chocolate mocha.
What would you guess would be my favorite coffee? Black.
Oh man.
He sings before and he plays a lot of double bass drums.
And he's like a Viking.
A Viking, legit Viking.
I would probably say anything with a double shot of espresso in it.
Yeah, so completely the other way. Like I'd get like
Water.
basically it'd be like a lot of anything with like a lot of cream and sugar that's like really sweet and it's just a normal caffeine content.
Yeah.
Sounds like a caramel
likes
ribbon
vanilla,
crunch.
too.
Yeah, vanilla, caramel, stuff like that.
That's it.
That's it.
Ryan?
So mine's probably the most hardcore out of anybody. Mine is shots of espresso and an iced venti cup with ice and just a little bit of cream. And that is it, man. That is my go-go juice for the day.
But he likes the cream separate from the
Yeah.
actual coffee.
Because I ever so slowly pour it in. It's a process because I don't want to overdo it. Because if it's too much cream, it's like too sweet, too much. I like to like get kicked in the face early in the morning with that. So that's my coffee.
Yeah, mine, grande hot black coffee.
Yeah.
Usually it's like the Pike's Place, or I really like the blonde roast if they got it. But yeah, it's Pike's Place, hot black, straight up.
Mine just kind of depends. If it's like a hot, like if the tour's a little bit more warm and I can actually have coffee where it doesn't mess with my voice, I will do a venti cold brew coffee with 3 shots of espresso added onto it, and then 2 pumps of sugar-free vanilla, and then light cream. So I like it really heavy, or I just do a medicine ball tea with like 7 pumps of honey. So I'm either really sweet and like tea, or I'm cold brew with a lot of espresso, and there's like no in between for me.
I can dig that. Is the honey like to help soothe your throat, like with your vocals and stuff? I know a lot of vocalists tend to use honey and like
Yeah.
room temperature water to help with vocals.
So like as a vocalist, there's a lot of things to technically steer away from. I know you're technically not supposed to have a lot of dairies. You're not supposed to necessarily have a lot of acids because it can either strip your vocal cords or cause you to have too much mucus, like regenerate, I guess. But
Ew.
for the medicine ball, I'm not supposed to necessarily like it because there is lemonade in there, and I've never had an issue with drinking orange juices or like lemonades or like lemons. It never really affected my voice, but the honey really does kind of not necessarily soothe it, but coat your voice. And when you're in states that are like 15 degrees, 20 degrees, and you are wearing nothing but sequins and tights and you are freezing to death, you take every measure as possible to keep and maintain your voice like lubricated, because it gets very dry no matter how much water you're drinking, because water itself sometimes doesn't hydrate your vocal cords like it needs to. So this last tour, up until the day that we were driving to Louisiana to actually just enjoy ourselves and it wasn't a show day, I was drinking so much tea, it's not even funny. And normally, what I forgot to add, I normally not only order like a big cup of coffee with lots of espresso, but I'll order like a whole entire cup of ice and just chew ice like a sociopath.
It's weird to hear
Yeah.
that. Like chewing ice is
It's
like nails on a
yeah,
chalkboard.
exactly.
It's
Like
literally- we're all
I
just sitting there like, oh.
I walked in with a cup of ice that I literally was chewing.
Yeah, and you
But
start
even
rapping
for
when you're
this
driving.
tour, I wasn't even able to chew as much ice as I'd personally like, just because if you do that, it can like clog up your like nasal passages, and it was beyond freezing. So it was a very honey filled, tea filled kind of tour.
Oh man, you would not like Michigan. That's where I
I'm from
stay.
New
and
York.
it's- Oh, well then you understand the
I'm
cold.
used to the
You get it.
cold. But like vocals are vocals. And the thing with this is like, I can't restring a guitar. I can't restring my vocals, or I can't, tune instruments differently. So I quite literally have to treat my body a certain way in order for it to constantly perform on stage the way that I feel necessary. And I'm really tough on myself. So this tour, I took it upon myself to just not drink any coffee. And I literally wanted to cry every morning because I love coffee. But it worked, and my vocals didn't get shot. Right now they're a little tired, but that's just because I was nonstop singing these past few days. So
Man, you guys sound like you guys have quite the fun time on the road, man.
Oh yeah, yes, we do. I always have an awesome time on the road. I probably have the best time on the road.
he may not remember it, but he does have it.
And I remember most of it.
But he's also the comedian of the group, so he'll get it going, and the rest of us just spend
Hours.
hours just laughing.
And I love to do it. I like
Yeah.
making everybody laugh.
So,
It's my favorite part. That's my favorite part about being on the road with these guys and this lady is making everybody laugh.
And the
Having a
other
good-
lady.
having a good time. And the
Yes,
other
our
lady.
merch
yeah,
girl.
we're a 6-person crew. Kelly, our merch isn't here right now, but yeah,
Yeah.
she's part of the the dev crew, you know. So
Well, everyone needs a merch person.
It's totally worth it. It's so much fun.
How did you guys develop your sound? I mean, each band has their own unique sound, and you guys definitely have your unique sound. It's I want to say it's kind of has like a kind of southerny, older fashioned rock vibe to it in a sense. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yeah,
I think it's probably just all of our influences because I think I can honestly say that not one person in the band I don't think
We all disagree on musical.
yeah
tastes.
yeah so it's like we each listen to something. Our favorite band is all something different.
the
So,
only thing that
and-
we can agree on when it comes to musical taste is whatever we create for ourselves, but
Yeah.
I think that's mainly the reason. Barrett is 100% right. If we went down a line and we all just said our like favorite artists, none of them are
Are even
equivalent or
close, really.
similar. But that's kind of what made us us. And I guess the sheer fact that we all enjoy similar genres of rock, alternative metal, and then when we sit in a room, pop a little bit too. When we sit in a room, that's how we create it. But
We all have similar bands that we all like as a whole.
Yeah.
That we all like, but they're not all our favorite bands. Like,
Yeah.
we all like stuff like Led Zeppelin, the Rolling Stones,
Right.
David Bowie,
Mhm.
and whatever, everybody, Nirvana and stuff like that. We're all into all kinds of music, but all of us have a very specific bands that we like more so than what everybody else in the band's like, if that makes sense.
yeah, none of our, I think the reason why we're original and we come off original to most people is just because our origins are very natural and organic, the way Ryan described it, just us meeting. We've never really sat in a room and tried to create something with a specific concept. If it doesn't form naturally, then we kind of really just don't like temper and mess with it. So from the name to how we met each other to even our sound, it was just because like I, as Nikolai, can, write songs as Nikolai, and Barrett and Ryan can, put whatever they want to put on guitar, and Chris has full control of his drums, and John has full control of his bass guitar. And then whatever we feel like was fit or necessary to put into the song, we put into the song. And then that's just basically how every song is ever birthed. Queen of the Damned, Ryan, I believe, came up with the hook, and we all just kind of jumped in and finished it off. And, To Hell Bent, Barrett came up with this idea, and then we all just jumped in, and we just kind of play off of each other a lot. And we're very accepting in this practice space of ours.
I think that's kind of what every band has to be, is, to be cohesive, is to take the time to listen to each other's ideas and whatnot. And it's cool that you guys all have a diverse taste of bands. I think that's helpful when it comes to creating a unique sound, is just kind of blending everyone's influences together. So I totally
And
dig
a lot
that.
of times I've noticed, like, some people will say that like their inspiration is this or their inspiration that. The one cool thing about this band, and I think a lot of bands too, is just it's not one person anymore that you're asking, what was your inspiration for whatever art. You really get to see, 5 different inspirations kind of merge into one. So it just becomes really like different and original and cool, because it's not like we sat down one day and we're like, yo, we really want to sound like Tool, or we really want to sound like my favorite band, System of a Down. It happens.
I was sent this excerpt that you guys have played with. Well, some of you have been in bands with like Alice Cooper and stuff, if I remember reading that right. Were some of you guys in bands with them? That's badass.
So I was in a band. I was a hired gun for a signed artist, and like the first tour that I went on with this band, actually the first show was opening up for Alice Cooper. I think it was St. Louis, and it was in front of like 6,000 to 10,000 people. And the second song in, my guitar tech hadn't adjusted my strap right, and my guitar like strap broke. And I was like so nervous. I was so green anyways, like, and that was probably the biggest crowd that I've ever been in front of. So that was my like introduction into like the big time, was like, hey dude, like, congrats, you made this stage, and then your guitar strap breaks in front of all the people. And now try to figure it out and play the rest of the set, But it was a great experience. And, like I said, I was really young. I cut my teeth on that tour. Because we did Warped Tour, we toured with Heart, we opened for Alice Cooper. I mean, it was insane, and I truly didn't feel like I deserved to be there, but I was like super, humbled and glad that I got to do it and was able to be there. And just the amount of like people that I was able to meet and the venues that I would see, and just the experience that I got from it, from endorsements to the confidence level to, I mean, like Mike Inez was the bass player for Heart at the time, and he had played with Alice in Chains. You know what I mean? So like I'd be sitting there catering, having a beer with Mike Inez, who was in Alice in Chains, you know, one of the bands that's like this huge band, and it was just nuts, man. It was so surreal and mind blowing every day. So yeah, it was a great experience for sure.
Hell yeah, man, I would be nervous as fuck to be playing with bands like that.
Lots of alcohol helps though, man. Calm the nerves. Yeah.
Something, man. Yeah, I'm over here doing this because I'm nervous as shit. I'm like, oh man, am I gonna make an ass of myself? So, you know, yeah, a little liquid courage helps you get through some shit, you know.
I don't know. I think sometimes when you meet somebody that's famous, a lot of times they don't want you to be starstruck and awe of them. They just want you to treat them like a normal person. So if you can take that approach and kind of remember that when you're talking to people who are on some other level above you, and just remember that, like you said, we're all human beings at the end of the day. They're human too. They just happen to be, you know, who they are. But on the inside, they're like everybody else. So, I mean, that's one way to kind of get rid of the nerves.
Right. I mean, that's
way out on Miles Kennedy at Earth Day birthday.
Right. He says that, and then he was a little bitch away.
And I feel like an idiot for it, but hey, you know, it happens. It happens to us all.
Hey, Miles. Yeah.
It happens though. It happens though. We all have our moments.
So what is the craziest thing that has happened to you guys on the road?
Oh my God.
I don't think we can answer that.
I mean, I could tell you a story that's one of the many, but I was in Arkansas playing a fraternity with this band that I just mentioned, and it was a one-off, and we had just played with we played with Alice Cooper. We went to Arkansas to play like a fraternity party because it was, I'm sure, a great guarantee. And then we were jumping back up with Alice Cooper. So in this fraternity right next door was another fraternity, and I guess they were like neighboring, like fighting fraternities, like they didn't get along with each other. So we parked the bus in the fraternity parking lot, which, you know, a 45-foot Prevost bus takes up this huge amount of space. So we're on stage, we play for like an hour and a half, like whatever. And we get off, and the tour manager comes into like our green room, and he's like, hey, somebody slashed the bus tire. And we're all like, how the fuck do you slash a bus tire? This shit's fucking taller than me, you know? And so we go outside and we're inspecting it, and he's pissed. And then like, we're trying to figure out what to do, what's going on. And he's like calling the label and stuff. And so me and all my infinite wisdom get super drunk. I drink a whole bottle of Crown Royal. I find like a Bowie knife in the fraternity house, and I go next door and I try to start slashing like all the tires of the cars next door. Cause I'm like, fuck these motherfuckers, you know, just dumb shit. And I end up slicing my right finger, my index finger, completely wide open. Now, mind you, I'm right-handed, so I hold my guitar pick with that finger. So I'm
fuck.
up in the parking lot in Arkansas somewhere, with blood. I have skin flapped open. Like I could probably see my bone. Like the rest of the band's like, dude, what's wrong with you? Like they're trying to talk to the TM now to try to get me to the hospital. I lock myself inside the fraternity house, like in a bathroom. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to fix this. Cause I'm like, I didn't want to get fired. Cause that was my biggest worry, was like, oh shit, they're going to fire me because I can't play guitar. So I drank another bottle of Crown Royal, and then I cleaned my finger. I wouldn't get out. And then I glued my skin together. And then the next day, like long story short, we got it. We got the bus fixed, and we're on the road. And next day we played with Alice Cooper. Well, I'm so hungover that during sound check, I'm throwing up in the garbage can. Like I can't even stand up, and my finger's bleeding everywhere. Like the glue's coming out. So like I go get Starbucks, I come back, and then as we're playing, like my finger, blood starts flying everywhere as I'm, flaring around. And this is like metal, chunky metal, kind of new metal stuff. And so the crowd goes crazy because they think it's part of the show because it's Alice Cooper. So they think the opening band's got a guitar player who's spitting blood like Ace Frehley with the fire out of his guitar. They're like, how the fuck's this guy got blood flowing everywhere? Well, my finger's just wide open, dude. And like, I'm just bleeding out of it profusely. So we get off stage and, I clean it up or whatever. But yeah, that's one of my stories, man. I got a lot of them like that. I'm a dumb fuck, but it's whatever.
Dude, that's so fucking metal.
Yeah. And I still have the scar. I never got it sewn up, but I basically, it's right there.
Oh, yeah, he
If you guys-
does.
Yeah,
Wow, okay.
you can see it right there. But yeah, I just super glued it for like a couple weeks and I was fine. Didn't get fired, thank God. Kept my job and went on to play. But so all in a day's work, man.
That's fucking
Rock and
metal,
roll.
dude. Wow.
I got others, but we'll keep it.
Whew, that's almost on the same level as like, who was it? Fucking Tony Iommi who fucking lost his finger.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's up there with that shit, dude.
I was very lucky I got to keep my finger. So
I'd say, holy shit, man. I know that shit hurt on stage. I know you felt
yeah.
that.
um,
Ow.
yeah. I was just pissed that I couldn't slash a tire though. That was really upsetting. I was trying to get revenge, and it was like I wasn't gonna happen. But no justice for that band, but it's cool.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So that's your crazy story. Do any of you others have any crazy fucking stories like that one?
See, the thing is, how do you top that?
John's got a
That's
murder
what I'm
mattress.
thinking.
Oh yeah, we have a murder mattress.
Oh, the murder mattress.
We
story?
got a murder mattress story.
Oh,
Oh,
man,
that
we were,
sounds pretty epic.
We're playing a show in Cape Coral?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Southwest Florida.
Southwest Florida, band that Ryan and I were in together. And we went back to Arcadia because we were going up to Tampa, I think, the next day to play the Brass Mug. But we were playing a show with another band called 9 Mile Drive. They all lived in Arcadia. So their manager told us of a hotel that we could stay at in Arcadia so we wouldn't have to drive all the way up to Tampa and find a place to stay. So we get in this hotel. We end up paying like $75 to sleep for 5 hours maybe. And the drummer we had at the time, Josh, was like, you got to check all the mattresses before you sleep in here just to make sure there's no nefarious shit going on.
And we're just like, dude, fuck you.
Dude,
We're
we just
tired.
wanna
We're
go
there.
So this cat like pulls up the freaking sheets, and I got a picture of it in my phone somewhere. I think on Instagram or someplace. Yeah,
Yeah.
Ryan has it on his Instagram, but it's him holding up the mattress. There was a blood stain and a knife
Yeah.
underneath the mattress.
Shit you not, dude. Like for real.
Like-
Like we were just like, oh my God, we're gonna die.
Wow. And
Yeah.
he kept the knife. The drummer kept the knife. I mean, hey.
He
What
kept the
the
evidence.
He kept
fuck?
the evidence. I mean, ongoing pending investigation. We can't really talk about any more of it. No, I'm just kidding. I don't
Interview's
know.
over. But
But yeah, that was pretty nuts. That was weird. Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of other stuff.
Dude, that's
Right.
fucking wild.
yeah, man. So when you're out traveling and you're at a hotel that doesn't look lit, just make sure you check underneath the mattress because you never know
Always.
what's hiding.
Tell your
It
bands.
could be a dead body, a knife, a little kid. You never know. You never know. I'm just saying.
Shit, I should have
Alien
done that when I was
portal
in
to
Detroit.
another dimension.
Sometimes you find money there. I
Yeah.
mean, you luck out, but
Watch out for interdimensional portals.
yeah,
Interdimensional portals are dangerous.
Rick and Morty shit.
Yeah.
Serious
Dude.
business.
Sounds like the time my band opened up for Soulfly in Detroit. Stayed at this
Oh.
sketchy ass motel. Paid like $250 for like 2 days, right? Got in there, no microwave, no toiletries, no refrigerator, trash piled all up, all up and down the way to walk to your room. And then I talked to one of the people who work at the hotel. Oh yeah, there was a homeless guy that was found dead about 10 feet from your room the other day.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Yeah.
Thanks. So I feel that on the sketch, check the mattress and oh man. Tales from the road. Tales from the road, man.
Indeed.
All right. Well, shit. You can tell I'm kind of new at this. All right. So I'm looking at your guys' Spotify thing. You guys have played with some pretty hardcore bangers out there, man. Avenged Sevenfold, Five Finger Death Punch, Kill Switch Engaged, Nonpoint. They were just through here recently. Tremonti, Avatar, All That Remains, Flyleaf. That's so cool. I mean, that you guys have experienced. I mean, because all these bands are so diverse, and you guys have been able to play with all of them, which means your sound is really diverse.
Yeah.
And that's, yeah, it's really
So
cool.
You're playing festivals, man. You get to
Yeah.
play with a bunch of different bands from all different genres. So
So that's a question. Would you guys rather play festivals or would you guys rather play, like regular shows?
Depends
Which do you
on
prefer?
Run. When we played Welcome to Rockville, that was probably one of the best festivals I've ever seen put together. Like bathrooms were clean, there was no
Yeah.
lines, everyone was knowing exactly what was happening. It was very structured and organized, but there's also some festivals out there that, you know, can be a shit show. So it depends, you know.
And then,
Probably for me, I'd probably just like regular shows, you know, it's because you're consistent, you know, it's a consistent for the most part, you know.
I think it just depends and varies because both of them are on different scales. So playing at smaller shows, I mean, even like the smallest of dive bars, I can say that we have probably had more close encounters and like more like close conversations with our fans and followers and funnier stories and things that we can like recollect from just literally talking to an individual person. Then we played like, you know, larger places like House of Blues and the Orpheum, and
You can't really talk to people.
you don't really get to
Yeah,
talk to
yeah,
people
really.
much, but you do get to appreciate maybe better sound, better stage, and then
Larger crowds. Yeah.
larger crowds, and you can like converse with the bands more. At festivals, it's such a large scale that you don't really get to talk to fans as much until they like stop you when you're like going to grab food, or maybe they see you like backstage, but that's just more so for like the energy. So each of them are on complete different scales, and you really get completely different encounters and just experiences through them. I personally do not care whether I'm playing at a dive bar or like a stadium or a festival, because as long as you go in with the mindset that you're going to like take something from that day and you're going to do your absolute best, you will have a moment or something to recollect from later on and being like, oh, wow, this show was really good for this and this reason. For me, Rockville was really dope because I met a lot of people that I just don't know. I mean, there are people that now when I go on live stream or the band goes on live stream, I can say that I remember Bethany from Rockville, and she can tell me that she bought this hat from someplace. Or if we played at a dive bar in South Carolina, we literally all want to get matching tattoos because the owner was the dopest dude ever. And it's just kind of, it just all depends, I guess. Personally, I couldn't care less.
Whoa,
Yeah,
what's
I think-
this tattoo you're talking
You got there.
I think really for all of us, as long as we're playing, we're happy.
Yeah.
You know? Doesn't really matter where, when, where, why, what the occasion is. If we're playing our instruments, we're in our element, you know.
As long as
I
we're
like that.
playing and there's people that appreciate it.
Mhm.
Because sometimes
I don't
be
care if there's
surprised.
one person there.
There's like tougher crowds. And then it gets me nervous just because I'm always the one dressed up in like the weirdest outfits. And yeah. But yeah, as long as we're playing, he's right.
I can dig that. I really like that answer, man. That's yeah. I definitely understand that.
experiences, but they're all equivalent and they're all worth the same, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I like how you said as long as you can take something positive out of it, you know. And I mean, with each show, it seems like people grow, you know, with
Yeah.
just everything all about it, you know. And later on down the road, as you said, you can recollect, you know, oh, I went to this show and met this person and so and so. And I've heard of people doing that, you know, seeing someone, meeting someone 6 years prior, and they come to a meet and greet and they're like, oh yeah, I remember you, you
Yeah.
know, stuff like that. You know, I like that when bands take the time to interact with their fans, you know,
Yep.
because a lot of fans get really nervous, you know, about speaking to, you know, their favorite artist or musician, because I think it's just that whole stigma about famous people, you know, that they're on this whole other level. And so people, you know, just become nervous for some reason. And when those bands take the time out to, you know, whether at the merch table or whatever, to speak to them and make that connection, it makes them feel special. You know,
Yeah.
I like that.
Absolutely.
I like that. I like that you guys do that.
We got some fans that like we still remember, like from like we know like on a first name basis now, just because they start to become friends. I personally was at like Universal months ago. We have a merch shirt that literally has my face like plastered on it. And I was with my mom, and my mom does not listen to any rock but my rock. And she was wearing a Dev shirt, and the guy was wearing a Queen of the Damn shirt. And I had like no makeup, my hair in a bun, and I looked so homey. But the first reaction I had was to like literally just go up to him and say thank you, because we would not be able to do what we do unless like we literally have people that want to come and talk to us or come and support us and appreciate everything. So
Man, I just really want to thank you guys for taking the time out to speak to Maya. You guys have been super chill. I don't want to take up any more of you guys' time. So yeah, I really thank you guys for taking the time out to speak with me. and just being really down to earth. I do
Man, no
appreciate that.
problem. Dude. Thank you for having us. Yeah, we
Thanks
appreciate
for
it. Thanks
having
for
us.
having us on.
Yeah, man. Anytime,
Yeah.
Anytime.
You're listening to Rock at Night.
The introductory song, Get On Down, is from blues artist Billy Bass Alford. Look for his music at ReverbNation.com.